What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Me TV Reviews. I am your host, Mo, and today we're going to be discussing Only Murders in the Building. That's right, y'all. This is Season 5, Episode 6, titled Flatbush. Not to get confused with Nutbush. Y'all, they put up a Tina Turner statue earlier this week, somewhere in Tennessee. It's Brownsville. I don't know if I done been around that way. I'm sure I have. But anyway, I hope you guys have had a wonderful start to your week. Y'all, we are at hump day. So, we almost done with this thing, all right? So go ahead, get your work day started. Hopefully I can get you through your day, all right? So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is: the investigation takes Oliver and Loretta back to the streets of his childhood, where buried memories surface and secrets about Lester and Nicky's widows emerge. Mabel and Charles follow leads after a break-in. All right, y'all. Y'all know what this is during the week. It's a scene for scene. So if I forget some things, y'all charge it to my head and not my heart. All right. Hopefully it all get in there. But let's go ahead and get into it. So this episode starts off with a voiceover from Loretta. And Loretta is talking about making a house a home. What is a home? Is a home a place where all of your stuff just stays sheltered up? Or is it a place where you just store your memories throughout your life? Okay. Oftentimes when we leave home for the first time, it doesn't feel quite the same, but that's because you got to put the work in, you got to put the years in, you got to put the time in and build the memories for that house to become a home like you were once familiar with. Now, as she's saying that, y'all, we see a fire break out. And from the looks of it, the window was broken to me. It looked like somebody intentionally set that fire. Okay, it looked like somebody probably threw a Molotov cocktail or something in there. Now, I know sometimes if a fire is really, really bad, then the windows will start to shatter and all of that. But it seemed like that fire hadn't gotten that intense. So, anywho, we come back from the opening, and Oliver is there looking at this offer when Loretta comes. Okay, she's lost everything. It was her apartment that went up in flames. 47 years down the drain, y'all. She was there in that apartment for almost 50 years. And so Oliver was like, I'm so sorry, baby. It's okay. But my house is your house, and she lost everything. And so it's just the idea that she had so many things there that she cherished, like her father's dog tags, like pictures of Nicky or Dickie, excuse me, before she gave him up for adoption, like the playbills over the years that she had collected from potential plays that she thought she was gonna, have these breakout roles in. And so it's just the grief in losing all of that stuff. And so he tries to show her these wedding gifts that they had gotten from after the wedding. And she was like, It made her feel a little bit better, but still, I lost all of my stuff. I hope you got some good insurance, Loretta. I really do, but you can't replace a lot of that stuff. Y'all, it's very unfortunate. And it does put a lot of things in perspective, especially if you live in a place where fires are prone to break out. Especially like places like California, when they had those fires a couple of years ago, people lost everything, like little cherished mementos. Like, just let me grab a couple of things and y'all can have the rest of this stuff, because it's just material stuff for most of it. So anywho, Mabel and Charles come in, and it's time to discuss murder. And so Mabel said this is season 5, and the title for season 5 is going to be Widows Peaked, because the widows have piqued our interest. I like that. It's a cute little play on it. So Mabel is doing like the voiceover for a particular episode for season 5. And then Loretta chimes in and she does it a little bit better than her. And so then Charles was like, that don't even sound, right. Why are we even talking about Swiss accounts? And Oliver was like, look, you said you wanted sexy. She giving you sexy. So then they start talking about the phone and how Charles finally got his phone back from Sophie. And he's done with her. Good riddance, girl, because she is a potential killer. Okay, I hit it. I quit it. We over. I was like, Charles, did you really hit it, or did y'all just make out in the back seat? But either way, don't be talking like it, Charles. I don't like that. I like you when you cute, and you sweet and stuff. And so then I told y'all I love how they write the comedy for the elders in this show. Y'all, they started talking about the dating apps that they were on. Of course, we know about Last Gasp, but they were talking about Old Gasm and Help I Fallen in Love, and I Can't Get It Up. Y'all, I love it. It's hilarious. So, they talk about the apps and all of that, and then here comes Detective Williams. Now, Detective Williams has come to collect his finger. Now, Charles ends up giving her the cup that the finger has supposedly been stored in since last week, but as soon as they open it up, y'all, the finger ain't even there. It's just a cup full of ice. Where's the daggone finger? And so Charles say, look, man, I ain't open up that cup since you told me to put it in my freezer, okay? So anybody at any particular point during the week could have came in and took the finger. So he was like, the only person that done been in my house, because it was no forced entry, per Detective Williams. And he was like, the only person that done been in my house was the maid. And so he ended up seeing like this scuff mark on his kitchen floor by the refrigerator. So he took a picture of it, and he was like, maybe I should send it to my maid. But I have been trying on boots with rubber soles. He trying to keep it fresh, because now that his little flame done fizzled out with Sophia, now he back on them dating apps. Okay, so he done started taking pictures. He done started corresponding with this girl named Priscilla, and apparently him and Priscilla been sending pictures of each other body parts. They started slowly revealing themselves to each other. So she done sent him a picture of her chin, and he done sent her a picture of his ear that he's recently gotten pierced, y'all. I was like, come on, Charles. Charles look kind of handsome with that ear pierced. So, while they're talking about that, Detective Williams was like, hey, look, so I got to figure out how to get the security footage from the building to see if anybody has recently entered your house and took this finger out. So where can I find that at? So Mabel and Charles was like, oh, well, we can talk to Lester 2.0. Okay, Howard's little robot bestie. So they was finna get in the elevator, y'all, and then here's Titi. Now, Titi is playing her own song, probably just to get them numbers up. Okay, she's so conceited. And so she's playing the song, and this is one that Detective Williams and Charles know. And so, they doing a little dance number in the elevator, and Mabel's looking at Charles like, man, if you don't quit playing with me, you're supposed to be on my side. So as soon as she gets out the elevator, while they was in the elevator, Titi was saying how Seth Rogen had came to her apartment last night to do shrooms, right? And they kept seeing this light flicker back and forth in the East Tower. And so, she thought it was just because she was high, right? But no, she wasn't hallucinating or nothing like that. And then she said they went over there, and they confirmed that it was like a light flickering up under the door of apartment 14C. And she remembered specifically that it was that apartment because she said the C looked like it wanted a hug and nobody was hugging it back. The things that you think about when you're under the influence. So when they step out the elevator, Detective Williams was like, yeah, Mabel, it's okay, girl. I understand. And so she starts to explain what she observed in the elevator to Charles. And he was like, man, you're a really good detective. And she was like, no, I was just a teenager once. Okay. And then we both grew boobs and we hit puberty, and me and my bestie, we moved on and we weren't besties no more. So I understand, Mabel. It's okay, girl. You gonna be all right. Now over there to Oliver and Loretta. Y'all, Loretta decided that she didn't want to be herself today because she's too down in the dumps about everything that she has just lost. And so she has decided to pick up this character that she once was, or was supposed to be, had she gotten apart, Emily Lawler from SVU. Now, apparently they had shot the scene, but the episode entirely was scrapped. Okay, so she's gonna be Emily Lawler from Lafayette, Louisiana. Okay, so they ended up going to Rainy's house because in the last episode, y'all remember that Sophia had handed Rainy this plaid bag. So they went there and they discovered that Rainy is putting the house up for sale. And so they figure, oh, this is mighty convenient that she killed Lester and then put the house up for sale so she can, get away real quick. So they get there, they start looking around, and the realtor is like, he looked like he might still be a part of the family. Okay, one of the 5 families. He might just have, an elder position within the 5 families. But for now, his day job is a realtor. And for whatever reason, he seems to be walking around this house with a cigar in his hand. I was like, I really hope that you don't like that. You don't want this lady house smelling like cigar smoke up in here. How you gonna sell this place? That is not appealing to anybody. So Oliver and Loretta end up splitting up, and Loretta starts taking herself upstairs, right? Now, she got on this trench coat and this hat and this fedora like she's a detective. And she starts to hear like this opera music, right? So she goes into Rainy's room, and y'all, Rainy surprised her because she's hiding behind the door with this dagger in her hand. Talking about this room is off limits. So it scared the crap out of Loretta. It even scared me, y'all, because I wasn't ready for that. Why are you standing behind the door? Why? So her and Loretta plays it real cool, y'all, and she starts telling her who she is, and she was finna give her the backstory about how she had fell down the well with the gator, and she was down there for 3 days, but that's no never mind, okay? This ain't the right time nor the place for that conversation. So, Rainy ends up telling her, my husband, he gave me this dagger on our 10th anniversary, okay? Every night he would come home and he would kiss me on my forehead, and now, unfortunately, because he's gone, she can't afford this place. And it wouldn't matter no way, because she don't want none of this stuff. All this stuff is material. It's materialistic stuff. I don't need this. I wanted him. I need him. And so she just don't want to live here, okay? Like I said, she couldn't afford it no way. So she ended up saying that how her son said that because the dagger was from a very specific play, their favorite play, Tusker or something like that, it was the last performance of that play at the Mets. And so her husband had got it for her at this auction, and now she can't hold on to it, okay? And so she was like, yeah, my son said that I could get it for about $500 on eBay. And so Loretta ended up giving her the $500 for the dagger. And so Oliver, while she's upstairs talking to Rainy, Oliver is downstairs, and he was talking to the realtor at first about how the furniture is like fine oak or oak wood or something like that, some type of oak. And Oliver happens to stumble upon this Chester drawer with all of these different type of purses and bags in it. So he figured, hey, it must be here. But then he gets distracted because they're in the same neighborhood that he grew up in. Okay. And so he keeps having all of these memories come back to him about when he was younger, and he was eclectic and different from all the other kids. They didn't want to play with him, and this was his second foster family. And so the mom, she had all these cats. She was a cat lady. And the dad was an alcoholic who disguised it as drinking opportunities. Okay. And so while he's supposed to be looking for this bag, he looking out the window, and he gets this flashback of when he's trying to present this idea of a play to his foster parents. And the dad was like, man, forget that. We ain't got time for you to be hoping and wishing and dreaming and all of that. We need the money. So you can go work at the store. If you got all this time to dream, you got time to work. You can go start working at the store. And then the mama, I thought she was going to have Oliver's back, but she was like, forget what he's saying, but not pursuing what Oliver really wants to do as a child. Okay, so just killing his dreams. I'm glad that he didn't let that stop him later on in life, but we can tell that this was not a happy place for him. I think he had told Loretta that he had grew up there, and he was living there for about 3 years. So I'm sure we'll get more story on it. But yeah, honey, so after Loretta and Oliver leave the place, Retta is telling him, hey, I know that I was really upset about losing my place and all of my stuff, but that's just materialistic stuff. I want you. Okay, I'm just glad that you're in my life. And so they start kissing, and then Oliver notices that Rainey is mean with Sophia, and she's handing her the plaid bag. So now this done pissed Loretta off because that trick played me. The heifer played me. So now Loretta is finna get ready to go follow Rainey and Sophia. She was like, come on, Putnam, you coming with me. So y'all, she finna tap into her Emily Lawler, and maybe she gonna get her woman. Okay, so Mabel, Charles, Thee, and Detective Williams, they all went over to go try to look at this footage, right? Now, according to Thee, her and Seth Rogen had went over here to investigate whatever this mysterious light was at about 2:30 in the morning. And they'll know when they see her on the camera because she was plumed down to the socks. She had feathers going everywhere, okay? But when they look at the footage initially, they didn't see anything. But you could clearly see like there was a glitch in the footage. So Mabel ended up calling her an attention-seeking little liar because, girl, what? You ain't nowhere near here. See, you always making up lies, okay? You always trying to make yourself seem bigger than what you really are. But then, after Thee ran off, they looked at the footage again and they noticed the glitches, right? And you could see like there was a glimpse of some boa feathers or something happening there. So Detective Williams was like, look, I'm gonna go down to the precinct and see if I can get this footage from them. But in the meantime, Mabel, go apologize to that girl. So Mabel ends up going up there. Y'all, when she get up there, as soon as she opened up the door, because for whatever reason the door was unlocked, y'all, Thee was throwing shoes at her. And one even hit her. So Mabel ended up grabbing one of the shoes and threw it back at her. Now, it barely missed Thee, but it did hit the plaque on the wall. Okay? So then they start having a conversation about how, when Mabel had left, she was down and out because by the time she came back, Thee was acting brand new. And Thee was like, girl, I could say the same about you. Okay, you ghosted me. You ghosted me, and then when you came back, you was completely different. She was like, yeah, because my friend had died. Okay, I was depressed. And she was like, well, when you ghosted me, I was depressed. And then you would leave, and you would go to the city, and then you would come back to the country, and then you'd be different. And I always thought that, the Arconia was this really cool place, and I always wanted to go there. And she ends up revealing to Mabel that the song, one of her smash hits, yes, that song was inspired by Mabel, but not because she felt like Mabel was jealous of her, but because she was jealous of Mabel. Aww. So, y'all, they make up. And Thee was like, girl, I sure could use an old friend. Now, I like my new friends, don't get me wrong. But my old friends, my OGs, that's where it's at. Okay? You gonna be my friend again, girl? And she was like, you still wear a size 8 shoe? Why, yes, she does. So they're friends again, y'all. It was really cute. So Loretta and Oliver try to follow Rainey and Sophia inconspicuously, right? Now, I don't know who she thinks she fooling in this trench coat with this Prada glasses and this little fedora hat on. But anyway, so while they're trying to follow them, they end up losing them after this guy tries to have them sign this petition. And so he was like, something about dogs. And they was like, no, we don't want dogs to die. And so he was like, okay, well, can you sign my petition? So when they actually read the fine print, they was like, wait a minute, hold on. This is for a casino. And he was like, oh, yeah, I just used the dog thing as a ploy to get people to come over here and just look at the petition. So apparently, y'all, this is a petition to block a casino from coming into New York. Now, I don't know if it's, I feel like it's in Times Square specifically, but I thought that was so funny because of the timing, with the whole Jay-Z kerfluffle thing and how they was trying to put a casino down there in Times Square. And they had turned it down, but it's so funny because Nas is trying to do the same thing, and he actually got his approved out there, I think in Queens, if I'm not mistaken, or Brooklyn or something. Anywho, so yeah. So I just thought the timing was crazy. And they shot this a long time ago, but the Jay-Z stuff is just now starting to come out. So anywho, before their time. So they ended up, like after they signed the petition, where they ended up at, it just so happened to be right outside this old theater where Oliver was first introduced to the theater. So they end up going in, and he tells Loretta about the first part that he ever got. Now, you know, he wasn't fitting in with most of the kids. He always felt like he never belonged. His foster parents never really supported him in his dreams and aspirations of trying to get into the theater. And so, just by chance, one of the other kids had happened to ask him, you know, did you want to be a part of the play? And while it was a little small line, it was a line nonetheless, right? And so he was super excited. He ended up practicing and rehearsing and had a really good time, and he built up some camaraderie with these friends here at the theater. And so a couple of days, I think he said maybe like a day or two before the play, all of a sudden he dropped out. And he dropped out because he was too afraid to tell his foster parents about what was happening. Okay? And so he did still manage to sneak out of the house and still go see the play, but unfortunately another little boy had replaced him. So y'all, they are so stinking cute together. I love Loretta and Oliver together. So Loretta had him say his part, right? And he has her do the same. Now, I told y'all Oliver had like this very small line within the play, right? And so he ended up having her do her Emily Lawler, the episode that never was. And she was like, okay, you know, I just do my little bit, you know, just a little something. And so she ended up doing it, right? And then he stood up to clap. Y'all, she turned around and she kept going. I was like, damn, didn't you say that you had a small part? This is a lot of lines, Loretta. And so I love them, y'all. The way that they encourage each other, it is so cute. I just love their randomness. So anywho, as she's finishing up and, you know, they're congratulating each other on doing such a fantabulous job, y'all, they get a standing ovation from Rainey and Sophia. Now, Sophia and Rainey come down, and Loretta tries to confront them with this southern accent, y'all, and it is just not working. Rainey was like, cut this out. And she was like, all right, cool, whatever. We got you dead to rights, girl. We know that y'all done killed y'all husbands. And Rainey was like, oh, no. I could never imagine killing my sweet old Lester. Okay? But if you have suspicions that somebody else did, because she's under the impression that he accidentally fell into the fountain and died. But if you think that somebody actually did it, I need a name, okay? Because I'm going to get this job done myself. We ain't got to worry about the police handling it. Rainey got it on lock. And so she ended up telling them Lester had told Nicky that he wasn't trying to work that Saturday because he wanted to attend Oliver and Loretta's wedding, y'all. And so she got upset with herself that she wasn't there. And she was like, oh my goodness, you know, why wasn't I there? But then she realized that she wasn't there because she was helping the little babies rehearse for their play. So apparently she does these theater productions for the tone deaf kids. And, you know, just like different kids throughout the community. It's very sweet. And thankfully, Sophia, the money Lester was getting paid under the table, some of that was going to help Rainey keep the lights on for the theater, for the local theater. So it worked out well. So that money that they saw her give her, that was for the community. That was for them babies. So Sophia, they ended up asking them, okay, so if y'all didn't do it, who could have killed your husbands? Who was so upset that they would knock them off? And so Rainey immediately was like, you know, nobody hated Lester enough to do that. But Sophia was like, everybody. Everybody hated Nicky. So then all of a sudden, y'all, she ended up pulling out a blicky. And everybody got scared because what? Sophia, are you the villain? No, she's not a villain, y'all. It's just a prop. It's a prop. One of her boys This is they toy, y'all, that she done bought from the house. I told you, they 5-year-olds. So Rainey ends up giving them like this little bird figurine as the kids are coming in and she's finna get ready to start rehearsal. And she told them that Lester always carried this one around except the night that he died, he ended up giving it to her. So maybe this will be helpful, instrumental in solving his case, y'all. I sure do hope so. I feel like it was either a figurine or it was like a bird whistle, but y'all know how he always is describing each tenant or a person by the bird that they have similar characteristics to. So I wonder if they're going to be able to solve it based off of that, if they just look it up, right? Maybe they need Vinny's help at this point. Is that his name? Vinny. Maybe they can go back to Vinny and get some more information for the birds. So anywho, now that we got that all cleared up, what now? So everybody ends up going back to Oliver's house, and as Charles and Detective Williams and Mabel are coming in, he stops Mabel on the way in and was like, hey, girl, so I got some news to tell you. Okay. Now, while this is sad, it is kind of expected, but he ends up telling her that he's going to be moving out of the Arconia. Okay. But don't fear. He ain't going far. He ain't going to be leaving. He ain't going to be too far away from Mabel and them. And so I wonder if they're going to be buying Rainey and Lester's old home. That would be really nice. And y'all know he's still kind of like guilt-ridden about how he was treating Lester in his last days. And so I wonder if he's going to end up buying their old house. Now, Loretta already bought the dagger. She bought the dagger for $500, y'all. And Oliver was like, girl, how much money do you keep in your bag? And she was like, now, Ollie, you know I don't trust the banks. And I was like, yeah, but are you carrying like thousands of dollars around in your purse? Girl, what? Be careful, Loretta. So, in the back, Charles and Mabel and Oliver are looking Charles and Mabel and Detective Williams are looking at the footage that they were able to obtain. But while it's still loading up, y'all, Charles is over there texting Priscilla. He's been texting her all day. Okay, so he just giggling like a little schoolboy with a crush, and they was like, okay, what you got going on over there? And so he was like, oh, me and Priscilla just chatting it up, And so then some kind of way he mentions the fact that he done opened up his mouth again. Whenever he got a case going on, he cannot be talking to anybody that he dates because he done did this with Sophia and he's doing it again, y'all. He is giving Priscilla information about the case. Now, I think they had initially started saying how Mabel had mentioned how, if Priscilla starts asking you for your passcodes and starts asking you for money, don't do it. And he was like, oh, no, she's not doing that. But we are talking about the case. So, y'all, Detective Williams ends up snatching his phone and was like, Charles, you stupid. You being catfished. All right, quit playing around. And so then the footage finally uploads and we see that same glitch, right? So initially they had thought that Lester did accidentally fall into the fountain, but then when they looked again, they saw the glitch and they realized that whoever did the glitch before is the same person that's doing it now. Well, on the app that Charles is on, it's got the same exact logo as the logo that's at the top of this security camera footage. So who would want to manipulate both of those? And the question is, why? So then they look up who is the current owner for said company of the logo that they're seeing. And y'all, why is it Sebastian? Why is it the billionaire tech dude, Sebastian? And so they end up giving Charles his phone back. And now Sebastian has revealed himself to be Priscilla. And he was like, well, I mean, now you're super duper smart. You done figured me out. Now I'm going to have to come and find you. And that's the way the episode ends, y'all. Charles is always getting into something. Now, as much as I want him to find love, why y'all keep playing in Charles' face like this? Why y'all keep playing my boy out like this? Can we please give him a love interest and let them stay around for a while without having to worry about if they're a psycho killer, if they're a catfish, if they're a manipulator? Can we just do that? I mean, he done already lost Sass. Oliver's finna get ready to move out. Mabel is across the courtyard. What? Can Charles not find some sense of happiness? Anyway, y'all. Who y'all think killed Lester? I think we got the techies. They behind it, but who did they put up to doing it is the question. I think the bird that Rainey had gave them is going to be real instrumental in figuring that part out. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. I love y'all, okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Y'all, please stay safe out there. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.